Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you to all of our witnesses for being here today. I am greatly concerned with the growing relationship between Iran and China. These two countries have long worked together, China purchasing Iranian oil and Iran buying Chinese goods. We've seen Chinese firms repeatedly caught in aiding Iran's missile production and different defenses. And we've also seen, as we've discussed here today, China laying the foundation both for technology and infrastructure with Huawei in order for Iran to be able to surveil and censor their own people. I saw and heard in Mr. Axelrod's testimony that we must have robust partnerships, which I could not agree more with. I think China understands that as well, which is why I am so concerned with regards to China's role in bringing Iran and Saudi Arabia together not too long ago. Assistant Secretary Rosenberg, despite intensified sanctions, Iran has continued to increase its oil exports, and China seems to be the largest beneficiary of that. What is the administration doing to stop Chinese purchase of Iranian oil and petroleum products?
Thank you, Senator, for the question. I share this concern you're articulating about Iran being able to continue to sell petroleum and petrochemical or petroleum products. Indeed, China is a purchaser of great concern. And not just as a purchaser, but also facilitating trading activities, providing storage, so that broader supply chain. What we have been doing in response to this concern is getting out there to designate and clarify what is occurring that is of such great concern. So, for example, in a series of designations, different designation packages this year and last year, we went after dozens of Chinese recipients, also the providers of storage and of trading and brokering, not just Chinese individuals, by the way, also elsewhere in the region, including where that's part of a supply chain to China, in order to get after and expose purchases of petroleum and petroleum products.
So let me ask you this. If ports or refineries are knowingly accepting shipments of oil from Iran, are they violating U.S. sanctions?
Yes, our authorities say where there's a knowing purchase of a significant purchase. Yes.
So that's a yes. So if so, have any Chinese ports or refineries actually been sanctioned?
With regard to the specificity here, what we are doing is getting after nodes in that chain where we can have the biggest disruption effect, so that it may not be the end recipient, and it's often not a refiner.
So do the sanctions allow if a port knowingly accepts it? So shouldn't we be actually pursuing this with these ports, these Chinese ports that are accepting this petroleum and oil products from Iran?
Yeah, so wherever there is an entity that is engaging in one such transaction, yes, it should be a target.
But you were saying to date we have not sanctioned any Chinese port or refinery.
I did not say that, actually, and I'd be happy to follow up with you on the specific entities, but it is our goal to find those where the disruptive...
So we have sanctioned some.
We have sanctioned many entities in China related to this trade.
The port, though.
I would be happy to follow up with you on specific entities in order to answer your question with detail.
Okay. I would hope if they are knowingly accepting it, as you said, and it's within the realm that we're actually doing what we say we're going to do and following through with these sanctions. So my question to you is, if we have these sanctions in place and yet Iranian oil exports hit new heights at the end of last year, and obviously we know that China's purchase of Iranian oil has risen to record levels, we don't have the right sanctions in place or we're not enforcing them. Would you agree?
I think the authorities we have are strong and efficacious. I too have noted, along with my colleagues in the intelligence community, our colleagues in the intelligence community and throughout this government, that this is a growing concern. I never think that sanctions are the only tool that can advance our purposes here, but we must not.
So what else should we do then? Because we shouldn't have these sanctions in place. We don't have the right sanctions in place or we're not enforcing them. Or, to your point, there's another tool that we're not using. So what is that?
There's a variety of things that we must do, a number of which we are doing, in order to get at the supply chain. So, for example, where there are jurisdictions that are involved in the transshipment those are further opportunities, including in the Gulf and in Southeast Asia, to engage with the leaders of those countries and businesses there in order to clarify for them the consequences of violating our sanctions. So that's a diplomatic and technical engagement as well as sanctions designation with, for example, Malaysia.
Well, and I'd like for us to just drill down into this. I know that I am out of time, but when we're seeing Iran offer discounted oil to compete with Russia in the Chinese marketplace and circumvent our sanctions regime in coordination with China, it's incredibly concerning. So it is my position that we either are not using the right sanctions or we are not enforcing them to the level that we can, and either one is not acceptable. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.